We're on the 14th of May on EURUSD and we're using a split screen layout to show the 30-minute and the 1-minute timeframes. What we're going to do is we're using the 30-minute to understand the location and the intention of price, and then the 1 minute is where we're looking to execute on our positions. So let's start with the 30-minute and the high time frame view. We can see that we are located for our session at 8 o'clock in the middle of the range. Now, if I was to come to my session and we was to open up here, or we was to open up here within that previous daily range, then I'll be looking to either sell from this location or buy from this location. This is the framework. What do we do when price is in the middle? Well, I have a lack of bias, and actually what I'm going to do based on this information is use a lower time frame intention to show me what I should be doing and the direction I should be following. Overall, we can see from this time frame that we did have that higher time frame range initiation shown. We did pull back, we did have that mitigation, and since we've seen a continuation to the downside, how can we see that? Well, previous lows have continued to be taken and previous highs have sustained in the market. This is a representation of a direction in price and a bearish trend. And for my session, I'm slightly weighted towards that bearish bias. But like I said, I can also be bullish within this location. What I'm looking for on a lower time frame is a representation of understanding of the intention in the market. So currently we can see if price is mitigating up here for low prices, then likely price is going to target the previous daily low. Or we can see price move within mitigation points inside of that range. And here we are, we're presented with a location to observe. And this is where price presented us for our session. Let's move that out of the way. Now let's move to the lower time frame. So if I just zoom out here, we can see from a lower time frame perspective, we have these ranges, initiation, ranges, initiation. And that's the representation of lower time frame intention showing itself. 30-minute time frame, it may not be as clear, but on a 1-minute time frame, we're starting to see that clear intention come into the market. That is over Asia session. So there's no trading from me, but there is an observation of understanding. And we can continuously see here then that price is remaining contained within this sideways range. So we go from a phase of initiation into a phase of sideways delivery. And we can refer to this as a sideways range. As price carried on into London session, we can see that price remained in this range at Frankfurt Open. And then we saw price push outside of this range. So for me, that was intention shown. Once again, we're seeing previous highs sustain and lows be taken. So on that low break, that's giving me intention now for low prices. And we can go ahead and highlight that initiation move. This is how we can identify the correct intentions in the market. And with that in mind now, seeing that we had that fractal high created, we had the fractal low created, I know that we're inside of that previous A to B. And what I would be looking for is price to show me that it wants to mitigate out of the range. When price did take this low, initially, it was nice to see price break the low. You know, what we'd look for is for price to continue in that intention direction. But what we actually saw was price pull back up into that sideways delivery. So actually what we're doing here is extending the range because price has not seen an initiation outside of the range. We did, and then price did not continue its initiation at the range. We actually pulled back into it, again, containing price between two price levels. So here we are presented with this information. Moving into the start of the session, price moves to its high. And this is right at the start of my session, so likely I'm not going to be placing any entries. I can see that price has reacted off of the high presented here. So continuing, essentially what I'm trying to do for my session is build on the understanding of what I'm seeing. At that time, we did see price continue to range. So actually for my session, knowing that we're in the middle of price, I'm not trying to make a lot of decisions. Actually, what I want to do is follow intention shown or follow a mitigation. Again, build an understanding of what's happening. What did we see? We saw price react from that location and we saw a move in a bearish direction. And we did take the most recent lower time frame swing low in there, and price then pulled back up into the range. So clearly we can see on a lower time frame that price is remaining to be contained and we're not seeing much initiation structure. Yes, this is a nice move away, this is a nice reaction, but when we did take the low, we're pulling straight back into that 50% of that sideways delivery. So for me, price is still contained. What am I looking for here? I know the location of the session is not high probability. These would be the high probability locations. So for now, what I'm trying to do is find that intention on the lower time frame and play that direction of those orders. We can continue to build a representation of price. Like I said, here we're starting to see that sideways delivery. Here we're pulling back into that full body OB, and then we're starting to see that reaction for lower prices. So this is all being observed in live time. And then what we can see is price continue to be contained and deliver sideways. This is the observation. This is our understanding. Really, what we're looking for is a continuation of that intention. Will we see it? Won't we see it? Right now, price is still ranging in my session. So again, no trades interesting me. We can see here, price has started to move in opposite direction. We can see clearly from our fractal indicator that this low is a target for low prices. You can see that low is stacked in the middle of the range. So likely this is going to be used as cause. And really what I'm trying to see now is, will we start to see intention in that direction? And we do, right? Price starts to see some direction from that location here after moving into high prices. And essentially what we've seen is this high be protected. Again, another full body OB observation here, which we see and hold for bearish prices. So as price continues, just anticipating what might come in the market here, still being patient of what can present to me. And we can see here now that prices from that intention move down, where it created equal lows, price is now starting to pull back up. And we can clearly see we've got highs and lows above and below price. So likely this is going to be used as cause. But what do we notice? We notice that we have a clear range in price. Once again, price being contained. And we know that it's from these locations we can start to think about the initiation in a direction. Here we see price moving into higher prices. Once again, we can see another range be created on a lower time frame, and price is currently moving inside of that range. Now, this was the observation that led me to think about being involved now. Why? Because I can recognize range, initiation, price pulling back for that mitigation, anticipating a continuation to take the previous lows. If you notice, we're talking about getting short here. And when we think about that contained price and where we're located within that contained price, we can see that we are in premium pricing. So as much as we can think about getting long, likely we're not going to get long until price moves down into discounted prices. I'm only thinking about shorts from this location. We see price take out that previous high on a fractal level. And then our next candle is moving in the opposite direction. So once again, we get a full body OB, another representation of intention being shown in the market. And this is where I took my entry. I took it on the close of that candle, and my stop was 2.2 pips above the high. And my TP is always seeking that 1 to 10 move in price for low prices. Now it's at this point where we can look at what's being created. We can use our indicators. We can clearly see cause is being created above the highs and cause is being created below the lows. We can clearly see we're ranging. We've come from a point of mitigation. We've seen a reaction, and I'm anticipating that intention is going to continue in the market. Remember, we are following this initiation in price. This is the intention that we've got. This is the only intention that actually showed itself from a lower time frame perspective. If we actually do look at the move up here, we can see that price moves up, slows down, moves up, slows down. So this clearly is not initiation structure. This is actually a trend or trend delivery, and it's happening inside 50% of the range. So this is really going to be ignored. And what we're going to focus on when we are ranging based on our frameworks is the edges. And this is where we're presented with that information. Moving forward, what do we start to see? We start to see that intention in price. And pretty much we know at this point, price is likely going to become and target those previous lows in the market. And that's exactly what happens next. So at this point, I'm able to move to break even because these lows have been taken. And then what I can anticipate then is that from this middle of the range location, that price is likely going to move down into lower prices. And straight away, we do have a target here that we can start to aim for. Target in low prices, we can see relatively that is to that low over 4.5 bar there. So nice position into liquidity, previous low. As I said, I'm going to be targeting that 1 to 10 overall, that being one target. And of course, our most recent swing low being here. So now the equal lows have been taken out, we should start to see price extend to the downside. And remember, we want to see that representation of initiation. So at this point of mitigation, our next phase is continuation. So then I do expect the observation of this phase should be fast. We should see candles closing low, and we should start to see distance be created. What I don't want to see is price pulling back, breaking lows and pulling back, because then that will show us that price is no longer really initiating and actually we're more moving sideways. That representation of price will be shown to us over time. We don't need to be forced it, but we do need to be aware of how price delivers. And then we start to see that intention in price. Really, really nice here. We're targeting that previous low that's been taken, and then we're observing how price is moving. So we start to see that extension in price. Then we start to observe how price moves now after taking that previous low. And we can still see from these few minutes that price is still continuing lower. We do actually pause here in price. So we are creating that kind of sideways delivery, and typically we get that range initiation. And then that previous low gets taken, right? So nice, obvious target there. We move down into a point of mitigation. We can see that this delivery here is sideways, right? This is what we're highlighting here on the 50-minute, the sideways delivery. and we can see price is moving back to that location. Now, when we zoom out and think about this from a higher time frame picture, playing this forward on the 30 minute, we can see that previous low has been taken, just as we're starting to see on this minute, and we're moving into that point of mitigation, as we can highlight here on the 15 minute. Now it's about becoming a great observer. You have seen price now initiate to take out this low. And once again, just like we did at this low, we'll be observing how price then reacts at this location. Let's continue the observation. What do we notice? That price does start to move sideways, right? Obviously, I'm in this trade at the moment, thinking about what can come next, knowing that we're at location and we're now in low prices. Before we was in the middle of the range, and now in the session, we're in a new location. So I do know that this location can create higher prices. So my first observation would be to look for sideways delivery, which we then get presented. So here we break the low, we still remain contained. And now we have this range. We'll be anticipating that the next phase of the market is initiation. That is our concept, range initiation, mitigation, continuation. It's the 1 minute process from that foundation understanding to then look for those precise trades in the market. So here, what do we see? We see that range, and now I'm waiting for the intention in price. And we can see then what price does next. And we see price now is pushing out the range into higher prices, back into the middle of that higher time frame, low to high. You can see here price is starting to stall. And what do we know? Well, we know that we had the high here, and we know that we did have that cause be created that didn't get taken, right? We did see the low get taken, here equal lows, and the low get run, but we didn't see the high get run. So now we're starting to see this initiation structure once again enter the market. This will be a good time to then start to observe the opposite intention in the market. And unfortunately, I am short. So this observation is understood, it is known, and I just have to wait for the outcome of the trade. There was opportunities to get long from this location based on what I've just gone over. But for me, I don't hedge my positions. I only trade in one direction. This is the result of that information. We did see price came back into that location, had that reaction. At this point, I've been taking that break even. You see price stall and continue to stretch into higher prices. Now, great day. Typically, this is how some sessions can end. Some sessions may be no trades. Some session may be a trade. Some session may be wins. But this is why I present myself consistently in the same session 4 days a week.